girlfriend, too. He's in. What else? All right, let's get to a little bit of fantasy football. Want to? You want to simulate the Tecmo Bowl music?
No, that's okay.
Ready, down. Jeez. All right, well, let me open up my trusty fantasy football magazine here that got ripped in half. Jeez. The tables at Sammy's were sticky when I went in to do the press box. I brought this magazine with me and I set it down. As soon as I picked it up, one of my pages ripped right off. All right, I want to talk a little bit about sleepers, and then maybe kind of rookies, second-year guys that we might want to take a look at. And we'll start with quarterbacks. Have you jotted down a few sleepers?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Well, hit me.
This might not be much of a sleeper. Oh, you want to start with quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Well, I'd have to say, as much as he's not really a sleeper, Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler. No, Jay Cutler to me is a sleeper.
Because I think that a lot of people are counting him out statistically because of the Bears receiving core.
Yep.
But I think he's actually going to put up some pretty good numbers.
Yeah, like as good as he did last year in Denver?
Possibly.
4,500 yards and 25 touchdowns?
Not 4,500 yards. But the touchdowns isn't beyond the realm of possibility.
Okay. Okay, Mike Pendleton throwing some good ones out here. That are actually two of my guys that I was going to say, Hasselbeck and Carson Palmer.
Yeah, Carson Palmer. I was going to ask you, is that considered a sleeper?
Carson Palmer, yes. At this point, yes.
Okay.
Because I think on a lot of people's boards he's fallen out of the top 10, and I don't think that he technically deserves that low of a spot. He was hurt last year.
He's good. I still consider him an elite quarterback, at least fantasy-wise.
I mean, he's just a few seasons away from being mentioned in the same conversation with like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. Remember, just a few seasons ago, people were trying to figure out who the number one was.
Right.
Palmer, Manning, Brady, and that's pretty nice company to be considered with. And now all of a sudden, he's just not even worth picking for some people. And I think Carson Palmer's going to have a nice year. Another guy, David Garrard from Jacksonville.
I like that.
Now listen, he was one of my sleepers last year, and he kind of sucked. But somehow, at the end of everything, he ended up being a top 10 fantasy quarterback.
Had really good stats last year.
Well, I mean, they weren't big fantasy numbers. So
I didn't know. I mean, you were probably the same way. I didn't know until it was all said and done, and I'm looking at this thing.
Exactly.
Like, wow, where did this guy come from? And I don't know, was it last night they played or a couple nights ago?
They played, I don't know.
It wasn't too long ago. And he had 2 or 3 throws that were just fantastic. I know it's preseason and all, but he looks different than he's looked before. Let's just say it that way.
Oh, yeah. Rasper says Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is
not a sleeper.
he's
a top 5 fantasy guy.
He's a top 5 on every board I've seen. I mean, and I've got 5 different magazines, and I do a lot of website research, and everybody loves Aaron Rodgers, and rightfully so. I mean, guy put up huge numbers his first year as a starter, and now he's second year, same system, same receiving core, more comfortable in the offense. Oh, Aaron Rodgers is going to be huge. I wish I could get him.
He's going to have a monster year.
Yep. Any more quarterbacks you want to take a look at? Maybe second year guys. Like, how do you think maybe a Flacco or a Matt Ryan? How do you think these guys are going to perform?
I don't consider Matt Ryan a sleeper.
No.
I think that he's going to be drafted in every league. Probably not as a starter, but at least as your backup.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't really consider him a sleeper. Now, Flacco, on the other hand, he's good, but he's not really statistically great.
Not fantasy good.
Not fantasy good, exactly.
Not yet. I say keep an eye on this kid. Next few years, I think maybe...
I think once they get a top-tier receiver...
That's what they need.
He is going to be something else.
Yeah, I agree. Mike says, Eric, you left out Trent Edwards. I did that on purpose. I meant to. Yeah, I don't think that T.O. coming to town is going to make Trent Edwards' touchdown total go from 12 to like 29.
No,
this guy only threw 12 touchdowns. It's going
to make T.O.'s touchdown total go from 12 to 5.
Yeah. I mean, this guy only threw 12 touchdowns last year. T.O.'s worth a few for him, but, I mean, I think Trent Edwards is still going to be lucky to toss 20 touchdowns. That's just what I think. And I think that I'm right.
If he throws 20 touchdowns, I'll come back here at the end of the season and do the show with you with my shirt off.
Okay, well, I mean, that's not necessary. I mean, not completely.
That's how confident I am he won't go 20 touchdowns.
Right on. I said earlier I made a deal with Cub fans that if the Cubs finished ahead of the Cardinals at the end of the regular season, I would do a month's worth of shows decked out in Cubs attire, and my opening music would be that obnoxious "Go Cubs Go" song.
Steve Goodman song that
Yeah.
just makes you want to puke.
But I said that right when the Cubs took first place, and all Cubs fans were going nuts like they had just won the pennant.
Yeah.
You know, so I said, okay, listen, here's the deal. Congratulations on your 1 day in first place.
Yeah, that's all it was, I believe.
It was
too,
like 4.
Oh.
It was like 4 days. Mike says McNabb, Stafford, and Sanchez. Stafford have a better career than Sanchez. Okay. Yeah, what about Stafford and Sanchez? A couple of rookies. Did any of them make a fantasy difference, do you think?
No, I don't think so. I do like that McNabb pick, but someone in every league always picks Donovan McNabb.
Yeah.
Every year.
And they should.
And they should.
They
so
should.
I don't consider him a sleeper.
Krantz took Donovan McNabb to the Super Bowl last year. He waited on the quarterback like he does every season. Picked a quarterback late, picked Donovan because he was there.
Yeah.
And rode him to the Super Bowl.
Donovan's solid.
Oh, yeah. I think he's going to have a better year this year than he did last year. I like Donovan. I'm thinking about rolling with him. So Donovan's a good pick too, Mike. Let's move on to running backs. And I don't think there's any other quarterbacks. I mean, you think Brett Favre will be a starter or a backup in fantasy?
In fantasy?
Yeah.
If you're smart, a backup. I mean, he's not the same Brett Favre as 3 or 4 years ago. He's just not.
Nope. I totally agree. And remember, his last good season in Green Bay when they went 13-3.
He didn't really have a monster year that year.
No, he had a decent year, but you have to remember that receiving core, and Jennings, I think it was like his first or second year.
That was Jennings, I believe, rookie year.
Yeah, rookie year. Donald Driver was a few years younger.
Double D.
And they had the most yards after catch of any receiving core in the league, which means all Brett had to do was essentially get these guys the ball, and they took care of everything else.
Business.
So, Brett Favre is gone. The Brett Favre that you're thinking of is gone. I know he came in and tossed in 6 touchdowns in a game last year.
Yeah, but that's just not going to happen.
No, he's going to have games where he performs like a number one.
And that was against the Eagles too. And then,
was it?
Was it?
Jets Eagles?
Might have been.
I don't remember. I couldn't remember who made.
I just remember they were wearing those
year.
god awful throwbacks in that game.
I like those. I like bad stuff though. All right, running backs. We're really going to do it. Just real quick, what's your take on LT? Because a lot of people have him back up in the top 10. I don't. I have him at 15. I think he's dropped off, and I think he's just about done.
Well,
I think even before he got hurt last year, he wasn't the same running back.
That's tough. I mean, I can't see if he falls in your lap not to take him. If you're sitting 4 or 5, I would still take him.
4 or 5?
Yeah, I think so. Well,
in the draft?
Yeah, I think he's a first round.
4th or 5th? Oh, TJ,
come on, give him some love.
Okay, hold on.
Look what he did just 2 years ago.
Jones Drew, Adrian Peterson.
Okay,
Matt Forte, Michael Turner, LT.
I put Forte off the top of my head. Forte, Peterson, and
what about
Turner? All ahead of him. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. What about D'Angelo Williams? 20 touchdowns last year.
I don't know.
Steve Slayton.
That was. Talk about a sleeper last year.
Yeah.
Boy, did he blow up. Yeah, I think I'd take him over Slayton. I think I'd take him over Jones.
Frank Gore, Steven Jackson, Chris Johnson.
Everybody's going over Steve Jackson this year.
I tell you what, when he's on the field, man, there's not much better.
I just think that to pass on LT, to think he's going to have another bad year, I don't know.
I think it is.
His legs are getting rusty, but I mean, just 2 short years ago, how good was he?
Well, 2 short years ago, he wasn't 30.
That's true. 30, that's the magic number for running back.
30 is running back
Westbrook's still doing it.
But he's 30, and he was injured hard last year, and then this year.
That's why if you're going to take Westbrook, you got to take his back.
This year, you've already said you love LaShawn McCoy.
Oh, yeah, I got them both.
You know McCoy's going to get on the field because you know Westbrook will go down at some point.
No.